Hello, welcome. This is part 17 of 32 of my NFL ranking series, and for this one we have the New England Patriots. The Patriots finished last year with 10 wins after going on a 7-game winning streak towards the end of the season, and they ended up getting beat by Buffalo pretty bad in the first round of the playoffs. Regardless, though, for having Mac Jones a QB for the whole season, and for them they weren't even supposed to be that good to begin with. So the fact that they were a 10-win team was really impressive, and the fact they were able to do what they were doing was really impressive. Tom Brady gone, this team was supposed to be dead, but somehow Bill Belichick and staff has found a way to keep this team going and keep them so competitive and everything. When it comes to this year, I think this team is going to be somewhat similar to what they did last year. I think they're going to just miss the playoffs this year potentially, but I think they'll have about 9 wins, maybe one less, and I think they're just going to miss the playoffs. And still regardless of what this team is, I think that's pretty impressive. So yeah, looking at this team from last year, like I said, they finished with 10 wins, and then basically they lost in the playoffs by a lot to Buffalo. But looking at this team, they had some pretty impressive play throughout the season. They beat Tennessee earlier in the season. They beat Tennessee on that one during their 7-game win streak. They beat Buffalo, and this was Mac Jones' first full season starting, and he looked really impressive throughout. There was he had some games where he had his rookie moments, but for the most part, he seemed pretty steady and seemed like all right for what they had. Because their offense was definitely lacking this year, and it was really impressive to see what Mac Jones could put together. Because, like I said, this team wasn't that impressive. When you look at their rosters, it's probably one of the least impressive New England teams that they've had in the past. So the fact that Mac Jones was able to do some stuff with this team, that was really good. And then looking at their depth chart going into this season, Kendrick Bourne, Jacoby Myers, Devontae Parker, they're top 3. They got rid of N'Keal Harry for a 7th-round pick. And then, they still have Mac Jones, they still have Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, Damian Harris, Ramondre Stevenson on offense. And when you go to defense, they still have Matt Judon. Looking at their team, they have a few holes here and there. And they're still, not a complete team. This is one of the, I would say, less complete teams that made the playoffs last year. But, they still have the fact that Mac Jones was able to do what he did last year with that offense. It's going to be impressive because they did bring some of the names back for him to work with. And then I believe they just got Devontae Parker. It's just with this team, it's just I don't know. This is another one of those teams where it's kind of like in the book with the Steelers, where this team probably shouldn't win as much as they do, but because of good coaching and everything, that they just find a way to do it. And just due to the respect to Bill Belichick, that's why I believe they're going to be as good as they are this year. It's just looking at, they just don't, it's just they don't have some of the talent. They're lacking talent in some areas. The receiving core is good. It's not terrible. It could definitely be a lot better. Then defensively, they just need to improve a little bit. Basically, if you look at it, they need to improve. Quarterback, I would say right now is probably, it's hard to tell what Mac Jones is going to be, since it's only his first season, but he looks like he's going to be all right or be kind of good. So excluding that, this team just has a few holes, on the defensive side, and they just have to fix their receiver core a little bit and maybe get a really good running back, and this could be a 13-14 win team. So looking at their schedule for next year, they have some easy opponents. Obviously, they play New York like they do every year. Miami's going to be a little bit tougher for them this year, but at least they don't play them at the end of the season, so they might be able to beat them twice. Regardless, they have a tough schedule. They're going to, they should beat some teams. I could potentially see them beating Detroit, but that might be a toss-up this year. But, they still should be, but due to the coaching. But because of that, they have a tough 4 weeks to start out the season, where I think they could beat maybe the first 2 teams, but the last 2 teams I don't know about. And then just looking across that, looking past that, you just they have some good teams, they have some average teams, and they have a bad team here and there. But for most part, their schedule does look a bit tougher than most people's, so that's where I have them losing a win or 2, is just because of how tough their schedule is this year compared to last year. It's going to be really interesting to see where Mac Jones can take them, because basically it comes down to what he can do again, and if their defense can hold up just enough to make their offense somewhat good. So when it comes to the Patriots this year, they're another one of those wild card teams where I just don't know. The reason I have them at basically in the middle of the pack is because I believe that's where they're finished. They can, just easily because of Bill Belichick, they can get those 1 or 2 extra wins and end up being a borderline playoff team, or they could end up losing an extra game or 2 because of some of the losses they have, and then this team becomes just another team stuck in the rut of the middle of the pack. But losing, so due to that, it's just going to basically become, can this team start to become quote-unquote modern and start getting a few more pieces around the quarterback, to where that way it's not just all on Mac Jones. And then this team can, if they can, say, for example, get an Odell Beckham Jr. type wide receiver to add to the room, maybe get a really good running back, an Austin Eckler type running back that can catch out of the backfield, do all that to add to Damian Harris. I mean, this team, like I said, this team isn't bad. They're pretty good. It's just they need one or two pieces here and there. And if they were able to get that one or two pieces, then this team could become a really, really, really good team.